How's everyone's week going? What can I help you guys with today? Holler at me, tell me whatever you need. The group is Stenley. Tim, you said that you wanted to bend my ear earlier, so I wanted to kind of open the floor here if you had anything specific you wanted to
Yeah.
touch on. I know you said you wanted Brian, but hopefully I can deliver better for
Oh
him
no,
for you.
no, no. You're perfect, Alex. I got no problem with you.
Sounds good.
So, mine's a mindset question.
Please.
Okay.
Cool.
I have I have no problem talking to people, no problem being on calls. But I'm with a new company. We're doing outbound um prospecting to plumbers, okay, to do pay-per-click SEO. And like it's completely a mindset. I just feel when I'm on that phone call, I just feel like I'm bugging the shit out of people. Do you know what
Of
I'm saying?
course I
Like
do.
I would rather, Alex, I was watching a movie, some guy was making phone calls to people about, hey, your loved one was in an accident. I'd rather make that phone call because
Oh, geez.
genuinely I'm reaching out and I feel like I'm providing something. And on these calls, because these people are just getting hit over and over and over again. They're like, what I mean? And I've watched you guys do, and I wish you would do more of the cold calls. I haven't seen a hot wing or, shot line in a while, but you know what I'm saying? Like that, I got to get out of that mindset. So any tips on that? Because I know you're the mindset guy.
Yeah, I totally hear you, man. It's tough, like I respect completely, where you're coming from and the concept of like not wanting to bother people and, it makes a lot of sense, it really does. And I think what has to come down to is just the belief of, you know, your product, It's the belief of your product, it's the belief of, the work that you're putting in is worthy for the person and that's really how it has to be. Ultimately what I mean by that is if you're going to reach out to someone, right, and they're getting hammered, by people just like you, that might be the
Yeah,
benefit to leverage that effectively, like letting
right,
them know, like, look, like I know you're getting calls like this all the time, right, but I want this to be different than anything you've heard before to make it worth, listening to this, right? That's what I
right,
really want. I want you to be able to grow based off of this, right? Like the more transparent you are, the more vulnerable you are, the more opportunity you have. That's really what it's going to be, right? Leaning into journaling about what's working and what's not, and why you have these fears related to bothering people, I think would be very beneficial. Similar to what we were just talking about like really evaluating the experience and really like prompting yourself to really consider like, why is my brain doing this? Why would I say that I'm more inclined and interested in sending like calling someone to tell them that, your family's injured versus just trying to help someone on a business side of things, right?
right.
You also have to identify and like figure out a way to make it enjoyable to yourself. And I know that's challenging for sure, but like, what we've done, obviously, as you've seen, we've done the hot wing hotline where we'll eat hot wings if we can't book meetings, or we'll take shots if we can't book meetings, or we'll do like the wheel of misfortune, which is like a roulette wheel, and like whatever it
Yeah,
says to do on the call, you have to do. Things that you can do to just have a fun time is key. The easiest way for me to do any sort of calling is ultimately connect with the person that I'm speaking with in a human way to really create a strong pattern interrupt, right? Really strong pattern interrupt. When you're talking about bothering someone, I don't know if you've ever heard of this concept. Let me see if I can find it. It will take me about 30 seconds. Hold on.
by the way, the stuff that you guys give away, I just invested $97, not because I probably need, five of those SOPs because I work for a company that does its own fulfillment, but the stuff that you give away free is just amazing.
I
So
appreciate
felt
you.
like I felt like I owed you at least $97, brother.
I
So
appreciate you.
no problem.
Okay, I think I'm gonna be able to grab this here. Okay, cool. I found it. So there's this idea of, do you know how many seconds are in a day?
I do not.
It's 86,400.
Okay.
I screwed up the metaphor a little bit, so I apologize, but it still will land. It won't be as impactful, but it will still land. If you have $86,400 in your bank account right now, okay, $86,400 in your bank account, and someone steals $10 from that account, how would you react?
No, I guess I'd be annoyed, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Yeah.
And then what?
I probably I'm probably gonna just move on, to be honest with you. Yeah.
So the framework is the same, right? If you
Yeah.
have 86,400 seconds in a day, right?
Right.
And you took someone's 100 seconds, 120 seconds, even 200 seconds, right? It's so
Right.
nominal in comparison to the rest of what they have that day that it's irrelevant. It's not statistically significant. It's so insignificant that it's not a bother. And so your challenge, Tim, is how do I make it not a bother? How, when I reach out to a prospect or someone that's I'm cold calling, how do I make this a unique experience for their day instead of a shitty experience? When we get cold calls, right? It's just like, hi, I'm David. Want to tell you about the new tax resolution. Hang up. Right? You're like, Tim, what's going on, man? Who is this? Hey, it's Alex Slinsky. I'm giving you a ring. You definitely are not expecting my call, but you have two choices. You can hang up right away, or I can make your day. Your call. You want to be memorable. You want to change the way that they're thinking about the experience. If they hang up on you, that's not about you. It's on them, right? And then we move on. What I'll do is I'll drop in here for you all some sample calls that I've done just to kind of watch how I do it. So if you just grab that document, there's
Gotcha.
two videos in there. One is the Hotline Hotline, the other one's the cold call shot line, where Brian and I are just doing calls, and you can kind of just hear like how we operate. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of value to seeing how that process works. Yeah, that's what I would do. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think you're 100% right. I think it is a mindset. And honestly, something you really just said, kind of like it's not about me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it is when I make it about me, then it's like then I'm offended, then they rejected me, then I should just get over that. Like this is, you know, it's they're not rejecting me. They're just, man, I want to get off this call. Do you know what I mean? It has really nothing to do if it was me, you, whoever. So okay. And I appreciate it. Some of it just comes down to, just man up, I guess, to a certain degree and just make the calls. You know what I
Yeah, I don't
mean?
necessarily love like, I try
Yeah,
not
I know.
to preach that mindset, but I get what you're like, it's not manning up. It's just having the mindset of like it's a small percentage of time and trying to create an experience for someone is the key. That's
Right.
what it is. Try to make
Okay.
an experience for them and for you, and I think that will benefit you quite a bit.
Okay. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Got it. No problem. What else do you guys got for me today? What can I support on? What questions do you have? What do you need from me? I will take care of you. Holler at me. Tell me. What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Hey brother, this is my first time on a call. I just kind of signed up a little while ago. And
Awesome. Welcome, Andrew. Good to have
yeah,
you.
thank you, bro. So this says it was a sales meeting. So what kind of questions do we ask inside of here?
Any sales question you have, any objections that you deal with, any framing problems, anything about offer communication, anything like that, I'm happy to help you on.
Okay. Uh can I go? I don't know if anybody
Yeah,
else.
you can.
Okay.
Absolutely, you can.
So right, I'm just putting together all of the goodies inside of the product offering that I'm going to give, right? And what I'm attempting to do is get brokers. Okay, so I'm kind of focusing on brokers who then have like downlines, if you will. Some of them are real estate agents, some of them are life agents or whatnot, and kind of do a investor offer, right? So that they, if they sign up with me, like I get access to all of their network, and then I'll give them like affiliate commissions, right? But I want them, I'm thinking I want them to buy in. So first of all, have you ever seen that kind of work? And if so, like, what would be the best way to go about that?
Have you ever done any of this before? Like, is it all theoretical? Like, do you have a list? Like, give me a little bit more clarity as to where we're at the point of like brand new starting. We've already done it before, what my experience is. Give me a little bit more.
So most of what I've done in the past is just like coaching, like one-on-one business coaching with individuals, right?
Okay.
And I would always train my clients on other people's softwares, right? So it's like, okay, ClickFunnels, and okay, Recartra, okay, HighLevel, okay, blah blah blah. And I was like,
Right.
so I'm like, let me bring this in house. Like if I'm pawning everybody else to everybody else's business, HighLevel just made it easy for me to bring this in house. So it's new and it's not new. But now I don't just want to go after the individuals, because I'm in a network with a bunch of different people who are business owners. And so I've never made that work.
So in terms of this process you're talking about individuals versus businesses, absolutely. This is like the most common model that, you know, people that use HighLevel do. It's like a sub account model, right? So they're like focus on ideally a niche versus not, meaning like people sometimes do like small businesses, but it's not a really good move to do that. Ideally, you focus on an industry, right, that you have an in with, and then you're able to leverage, you know, one or two features from HighLevel, not all of them, that will allow them to have the most success implementing this technology platform. The best way that's being framed as of late is talking about cutting edge, right? Like the concept of where we stand right now in the marketing space, and this is really important insight for everyone to hear, right? If you're selling marketing products, so we're not talking about HighLevel here for a second. If you sell a marketing product or a coaching product, we've gone past the point in which it's new. So for example, let's say your niche is attorneys or restaurants or medical spas or doctors, right? Just naming a few, right? It's extremely rare that you would communicate with any of those industries and talk about Facebook ads or Google ads or X ads or LinkedIn ads or any sort of ad where it's newfangled. Like, wow, I never heard of that. 10 years ago, it was new, right? 10 years ago, it was new. Now, it is not new. The concept of technology that's valuable, but also at the same time very challenging to sell is this concept. So, Andrew, I'm going to ask you a question. Some of you will know this answer. Charles for sure will, because he's heard me say it before. So don't spoil it. Andrew, what's the best tool to use?
And like technology wise,
it's a trick question. It's a trick question. What's the best tool to use?
My mind.
The best tool to use is the one that is used.
Oh, all right.
Now, what do I mean by that, right? If you were to buy the most amazing technological hammer, like the greatest hammer ever, but it just stayed inside of your, you know, toolbox all the time, is it really the best hammer? No, it's Schrodinger's hammer, right? That's the same problem with HighLevel, right? It's an amazing tool, but it's only an amazing tool if it's utilized. There's two sales for HighLevel. The two sales for HighLevel is one, convincing your prospect that they need this, want this, and will use it. And then the second sale is them actually using it with your support, right? If you do the first sale, but not the second, they won't retain with you. If you do only the second sale, well, it can't happen because the prerequisite is that they purchase it from you. Where is this all coming from? Why do I say all this, Andrew? The reason why is because people that are new in the industry of HighLevel, they get overexcited about the numerous features. And so in a sales conversation, you're like, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. But that's the crux of decision-making, right? If we talk about the psychology of decision-making, the psychology of decision-making is that complexity kills, simplicity wins, and confidence wins. So let's do a simple example here. Any of you that already know this, don't spoil it. It's going to be easy, though, to do with Andrew. And for those of you that don't know it, it's really, really impactful what I'm about to share. Andrew, do you want a Snickers?
No.
How many options did I give you?
One.
One. How many options did you have to respond though? You could have said yes. You could have said no. Then you could have said maybe. Maybe is veiled as anything that's not yes or no, which when you consider actually the majority of sales conversations end with any word that's maybe. So like, Andrew, let me think about it. Can you send me a proposal? I need to talk to my partner. I'm taking a vacation. Can we start next month? I need to make some money. Can we change like all of those things are all maybes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it again. Andrew, do you want a Snickers or a Butterfinger?
Neither.
How many options did I give you?
2.
But how many options did you have to respond? You could have said yes, no, or maybe to Snickers. You could have said yes, no, or maybe to Butterfinger. And then, of course, the impossible arithmetic, the calculus of the compare and contrast. And that's the key right there with HighLevel. The compare and contrast is the death knell of selling HighLevel. When you're like selling multiple products inside of one product, you're focused on the wrong thing. Here's one more really strong metaphor for you, Andrew, that hopefully will kind of tie this all in a bow for you to get clarity on what you needed. Andrew, if your toilet breaks, what do you want the plumber to do?
Fix it.
Fix the toilet. Do you care if he uses his hand, a vacuum, or a snake?
It'll make no difference.
Just wants it fixed.
Yes, sir.
And that's the thing, right? You're coming on here bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and I love it because it's a perfect fit here, talking about the brand new vacuum 3600 that's going to fix my toilet in the best way. And I, the person who has the broken toilet, says, I don't give a shit about the vacuum 3600. I just want my toilet fixed. And that is how you sell HighLevel. We got to focus on the result and 1, maybe 2 features max, so we don't get stuck into comparing and contrasting nougat versus peanuts or caramel versus hazelnut, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you sell. Avoiding complexity, focusing on simplicity and the result, and speaking with confidence upon said result. Now, a lot of people will argue this point related to the toilet, right? They'll talk about, let's use an attorney as an example, okay? And you're selling, let's say missed call text back to an attorney. Like, hey, if you don't answer the call, right, they're going to just call the next attorney and you're going to lose it, right? And so they're like, yeah, but how does it work? What number, how did, et cetera? And they start asking you a million detailed questions and also adding things on, right? Like, what do you do when people do care? Like, what if you were just one of those few people that actually was like, yeah, plumber, like, I need to know, like, explain to me the vacuum and how it works and all those things, which is rare, but it could happen. The way it works is through transparency of communication, which is like, hey, Andrew, I totally get that you want to get better detail and clarity, right? What I want to do is just explain to you, like, I am more than happy to nerd out and explain to you all the tech behind it if you want. But what I have found is most people really just want the result, which is more cases in this scenario, right? Less leads falling through the cracks. If you think it will really benefit you to have more data and understanding of how it works, that's fine. But I think if you just give me a chance to explain this metaphor, I think it will land for you. If I came to you, right, as a client, and I'm like, please win my case, and then I asked you to detail out every single step that you take to win my case, you'd probably do it, right? Probably. I mean, maybe some attorneys won't, but maybe you would. Or you would say, no, I don't need to work with you. Just trust me kind of thing. I'm down to do either, right? In order to benefit you to make the easiest decision to succeed the fastest, right? I like to focus on the result. So how do you mix the best of both worlds in selling it? You explain it in a puzzle. So I'll explain what I mean, okay? I'll actually show you because it will make it way better. So give me 1 second because I just did this with my client literally today. 1 sec, okay? Let me open this up for you. Andrew, is this all landing, by the way?
Yes, sir. Perfect timing too. I love it.
You got it, buddy.
That way I don't go off the deep end.
Yeah, no, and I know it's very common. That's why I'm bringing this all up for you. Okay. Okay. So let's break down this graphic, okay? Mm-hmm. On the right side, we have a result. Maximize your patient volume every month, okay? That's the toilet being fixed, correct? Are we on the same page with that? This is what the toilet is being fixed. These are the methodations. That's not a word. The methods. I don't know where that came from. The methods The methodations. I like it. We're going with it. The methodations. The methods in which they are happening is here. So let's talk a little bit of sales psychology, and then I'll share this screen again, okay? In sales, there's this consideration of a psychoanalytic theory from the 1950s that I like to really talk about quite a bit. Not Sigmund Freud, not talking about loving your mom and some weird shit like that. So don't worry. We're going to be talking about a different one altogether. Canadian psychoanalyst named Eric Berne. He posited in the late 1950s a concept called transactional analysis. It's a really fascinating read, at least for me, I find really interesting. And the concept is talking about how human beings have 3 ego states. And the 3 ego states that you're communicating with in every conversation is the parent, the adult, and the child. And when you consider in theory that everything is sales, meaning convincing is, convincing someone of your opinion, your model, your transaction, everything is sales, right? In some way, influencing decisions, right? When you consider the parent and adult and child, this is how you sell most effectively. So let's break down each of them, okay? The parent is a natural skeptic. The adult is naturally logical. And the child has big dreams. How do you leverage each of these to be successful in sales related to what we were just talking about? Okay, so the parent is skeptical. How do you overcome skepticism, guys? What's the answer? What do you have for me? Tell me, how do you overcome skepticism? When you are selling, how do you overcome skepticism? No one has an answer. I know you have an answer. You're just scared to answer.
Results of other people.
Yeah, proof, right? Proof. Nailed it. Perfect. Now, proof in today's day and age is not enough, right? Because here's the thing, okay? We go to Andrew, okay, and we say, hey, Andrew, I can make you $1 million. Here's proof that I made someone else $1 million. Is that enough? No. If I show him 50 people that I made $1 million, is that enough? Not necessarily. So how do you leverage proof, right? How do you leverage proof effectively? It's transparency. It's transparency. We live in a day and age of AI and technology, which you are selling, right? You are selling cutting edge technology and Photoshop, meaning just pictures of proof or videos of proof inherently, either consciously or subconsciously, leads your prospect, Andrew, to say, that's bullshit. That's Photoshop. That's his mom that gave me that testimonial. She looks too much like you. It's your mom. You're lying. They don't have to explicitly state that, by the way. They could subconsciously think that. And what Andrew did was, I did it. I checkmarked the parent. I gave him the proof. What the prospect's thinking is, no, this shit's not real, right? How do we bridge that gap? How do we bridge that gap? Exactly, Charles. People do it, by the way. It's like a real thing. People really do that. For those of you watching the replay and what are we laughing at? Charles said that you can go to Fiverr and pay someone to do a testimonial, which is gross, but also you really can do that. It's like a legit thing that you can. It's a weird thing to say. It's a legit thing. That's not how I meant it to come out. You get the point. You can do that. Should you do that? Obviously not. So how do you do it? Okay. It's called social proof anchoring, Andrew. It's called social proof anchoring. You show a result and then you transparently express what they're either thinking consciously or subconsciously, which is, hey, obviously I cherry picked this, right? I purposely chose this result to show you as proof because it's an exceptional result. I can do this for you, but I want to be upfront that, of course, I did cherry pick it. I didn't purposely show you a client that didn't get the great result, right? But I want to be upfront with you about something that I think is important. Listen to this metaphor. See if it lands, okay? If you were to go to an ATM machine, right, and the ATM machine was broken, you put $1 in and it spits out $10 back at you. How much money would you put into the ATM machine, Andrew?
As much as I could.
All the money I had, right? This example that I'm giving you of this prospect, let's say that I have proof slide, like a slide of proof, right? This proof that I'm sharing with you of Denise who got this result, that's the 1 to 10 result, right? It's exceptional. But let me also ask you this, Andrew. If you went to that same ATM machine, but it spit out $4 instead of 10, every time, put $1 in, spit out 4 every time, how much money would you put into it?
As much as I can.
Everything you have, right? Exactly the same. So what I want to show you is crystal. And I show a slide. This is a 1 to 4 result. Okay. The reason I'm showing you the difference between a 1 to 10 result or a 1 to 4 result is because I want you to know, yes, absolutely we can get exceptional results, but even in this scenario, mediocre results, it's a no-brainer because it's a return on ad spend. But here's the real reason, Andrew, why you should work with us. The real reason is because when we get a result like Crystal, which is a 1 to 4 result, we're always hunting for the 1 to 10 result. We're not resting on our laurels and be like, well, we already got Andrew the 1 to 4. He's good. We're always hunting for that 1 to 10. Now let's talk about proof that way versus just an image. Do you see how much more impactful it is to social proof anchor? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And
Cool.
it seems believable too now, right?
Exactly. Because you're like, oh, he's being real. He's telling me the truth. And that bridges that gap. So now, again, in that PAC model, the transactional analysis, parent, adult, child, we check the box on parent. Now let's talk about adult. This comes back to the thing we were referencing before I brought this up, which was related to the offer and the result, right? And how to frame it based off the result, the toilet, okay? So let's come back here, okay? So this is the result. This is us fixing your toilet. We're going to maximize your patient volume every month. We already showed proof. We already social proof anchored the proof. But what about the details? What about the details? If you just tell someone that you can help them achieve something, right? That you can accomplish something in their life or business for them, even if you show them proof, if you don't show them a logical process of how that happens, they're going to have a hard time connecting the dots. Now, here's the thing that people really struggle with, particularly using HighLevel. They take an 1,000-piece puzzle and they want to explain all 1,000 pieces. I like to consider it like you're trying to explain it to a 5-year-old. I have a 2.5-year-old son. He can do a puzzle that's like 4 pieces, and he's super proud when he does it. He's like, look, I did it. I'm probably capable of doing a 10,000-piece puzzle. I definitely don't want to do that, but I'm certain I would be capable of it, right? I understand it. I don't want to do it. And so I think the obstacle is for salespeople, they're like, let me explain to you all the details about how HighLevel or marketing works. And you explain it in 70 processes, 70 steps. That is not logical. That is not easy to connect. What we want to avoid in sales is esoteric or ethereal communication. Something like, Andrew, did you know that 1 + 1 is actually 3? That is not the time and space to be talking about in sales. Andrew, what's your astrology sign? This is not the time or place to be talking about it, right? What we want to do is some hardline facts. 1 + 1 is 2. Yeah, I can agree with that. That's logical. Now let's bring this back to how this makes sense in this format, right? Now there's a slide missing here that I'll explain so that it will make it easy for you, right? But it's like he has 3 slides before this slide, okay? It's 4 slides, excuse me, before this slide. The first slide is the results. Okay, so I'm going to maximize your patient volume every month. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we do that in 3 steps. Now, Andrew, there's a lot more than 3 steps of how we do it, but to keep it simple so that you can understand how we do it logically will make it easier for you to feel really confident with this decision. Sounds good? Cool. The first slide is foundation and then explaining what this means simply. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a database reactivation campaign. We're going to set up your offer and blah, 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 blah. Make sense? Great. Second thing we're going to do is promote it. We're going to do that through this, this, and this. Really simple, easy to understand. Got it? Great. The third thing we're going to do is review the results, make sure that we optimize for consistent, better results. And ultimately, that next slide is how you maximize your patient volume every month. This is how you leverage in transactional analysis the adult trigger, the logical framework. Yeah, it makes sense that you do foundation and promotion and optimization to get me this result versus just saying, I'm going to get you this result. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Now, what's the last piece here? The child. Now, anyone here have kids outside of me? I know Charles does. Tim, cool, awesome. Being a dad's the best thing in the whole world. It's freaking great. Also insanely hard, but so much fun and also insanely hard. Did I mention it was hard? Did I say that? I don't know if I said that. Of course, obligatory little kid pick. It's my son. He's the bomb. Little dude. It's fun. The thing that's really cool about being a parent for me is watching my son experience things that I have, just experienced a bazillion times in a new way, like listening to a song for the first time and watching his reaction to that, or, seeing a lake, or reviewing looking at a cloud in a unique way, or touching a flower. He just views everything without the rose-colored glasses that I have, without the cynicism lens. And the thing that's cool is when you're a parent and you watch your kid do that, it brings you back to that child that you were, and you view things in a different lens, in their lens. And I love that, like being really real and super authentic for a sec. Guys, I hate Disney. I hate Disney. The reason I hate Disney is I'm really impatient. I really hate waiting in lines. I don't like being in a crowd of like so many people. And before I had a kid, we would go pretty often because my wife likes Disney and my family really likes Disney. So it's just like, got to do it. But since my son was born, and since he goes to Disney, I love Disney because watching it from his point of view is amazing. It's like, it reminds me of what it was like. I'm a big sports fan, big sports fan. I remember what it was like when I was a kid going to training camp for the Miami Dolphins and getting a glove from a player and how important that was to me. Now, to me now, it doesn't mean jack shit. But when I was a little kid, that was the most important thing in the whole world to me. And it was so amazing to experience that with my dad. And it's the same thing when, my son is in Disney and he sees Goofy, which what do I know that Goofy is? That's just some freaking dude in a costume. But to my son, it's the most important thing in the whole world. Screams at the top of his lungs, Goofy! Gets a high five from Goofy. He says, Daddy, pick me up. I pick him up. He says, Daddy, run. Chase Goofy. Follow Goofy. Got to get a picture with Goofy. In sales, what we're trying to identify and figure out is what is the childlike version of the person you're speaking to. That's the PAC model, right? The childlike dream that they have when it's not cynical. So how do you leverage that? If you talk to a doctor and you understand that, you're going to show them proof by overcoming their parent skepticism, and you're going to show them a logical process to get them maximize patients every month through having the adult logical format. What's the childlike process for them? Well, you can't just say like, what's your childhood dream? You have to have an in. You have to identify it. And that's the why. So let's do a quick example here. How many people on this call want to make more money? Just drop a 1 if you want to make more money on this call. Okay, ready? Why? Why do you want to make more money? Anyone have a very clear, explicit answer? Like why you want to make more? Or exactly how much? Anyone?
Validates it's how we keep score.
So when do you have enough?
Good question. You know what I'm saying? But
Awesome.
it's success, I guess, is the best way to put it.
How do you define success?
Good question.
So Tim, the reason I ask this is because the experience that you all are having right now is the deep work is lacking. And I'm not sitting on a high horse at all. I had to have literally open heart surgery in order to recognize this. I had open heart surgery when I was 29 years old and when my wife was 5 months pregnant with my son. And I'm good and alive, which I'm very grateful for. But the reality is what I realized is I was hunting for figures that are impossible. Anyone a football fan here? Anyone like the NFL? I'm a big NFL fan. Sorry for those of you that are not, but it's a pretty easy metaphor. The goal is to get into the end zone. But imagine if you're at the 1 yard line and every single time you're at the 1 yard line, you automatically get pushed back to the 50-yard line. You can never score. That's literally what it means when you say, I want more money. Because what does more money mean? More money. Okay. And then what happens when you make more money? More money. And then what happens when you make more money? More money. Okay, here we are 2 weeks later. And what happens when you make more money? More money. The work wasn't done. And so, Andrew, why am I sharing this? Why is this important? It's because there's something that money does for every person that you speak to that they probably have not truly considered. But the ones that truly considered it, it's inside in their childlike dream. And so what you have to do is understand your avatar the best of your ability. Now, it's very, very rare for someone to have the answer right off the rip. Usually people that have the answer right off the rip have dealt with some significant tragedy in their life, which provides them with a different lens to be much more clear with intention. But most people are very unintentional because we live in a capitalist, imperialist society, which promotes more for the sake of more. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's fine. I'm just expressing why when I'm telling this to all of you, you're like, oh, it's a good question. I don't really know, right? It's the same thing with your prospects. And if you can't leverage what they want, you will never have urgency because they just want more. So here's how it works. When you say, hey, you want to get more patients, why do you want to get more patients? They're going to say, well, of course, I want to have a successful business. And you say, well, Tim, what is success? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. And then you're going to get stuck at that point. Now, Tim, because we're in a conversation facilitating this, is open to yeah, that's really interesting. The doctor who's in the conversation of, can you please shut the fuck up and just tell me how to get more? Right? He's not in that conversation. How do you leverage that? How do you deal with that? You understand your avatar. And this is how you do it. Hey, Dr. Andrew, what I found very often is when I speak to doctors, pretty much all they say, I want to get more, right? I want more patients. And then I'm like, why? And they're like, I don't know. I just want more. And I get it, right? And I could get you more, right? I would love it to be more defined, like more clear. Like I want to, pay for my kid's school, or like I want to hire another doctor, or sorry, I don't want you to say that. Or I want to like take a trip. But here's the thing, right? What I found is, a lot of people that originally started their, practice, they didn't want to practice medicine by themselves forever. You told me you've been in this industry for 10 years at this point, Andrew, right? Have you considered that potentially if you get more patients, that you could hire another doctor and you don't have to do as much? Now, what you're doing is you're leading with a potential childlike dream, the initial thought that they had when they started their business. And they're like, oh shit, I haven't even considered that. Now, my industry, Andrew, what I sell outside of working with agency owners and SaaS businesses is to attorneys. And when I ask attorneys, like, why do you want more? It's the same thing as everyone else. Oh, because I want to dominate the competition. I want to make more money. I want to have more cases. And then I frame what I just said to you, but for attorneys, I explain, did you start your firm and wanted to do like legal work forever? Or is there maybe some consideration of, hiring another attorney so you don't have to do everything? Is that something you considered? If you win on it, you don't always win, right? Sometimes they're like, no, I love it. And that is what it is, right? It is what it is. But when you do win, you'll see it in their face. Just like I see it in my son's face when he's looking at Goofy. Something new. You opened their eyes to something brand new that was never stated. They're like, that's even a possibility. Yeah, I'd love that. Do you understand how much leverage you have now in your sales conversation? You've showcased proof. You've showed them a simple logical format of how you're going to get them the result. And you clarified what that result is actually going to do for them in a childlike dream that they had. That's how you become unstoppable in sales. And that was my TED Talk. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
That was great, brother. Yeah.
My pleasure. I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have or any follow-ups related to that, but that's a really good kind of framework for, what you need to be successful with selling this product to the businesses.
So like if you were going to do let's just say in a webinar, you would sprinkle these across the presentation, or, even you're talking from the stage, you sprinkle it in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. 100%.
Okay.
100%. If you're doing it in a webinar, specifically leverage multiple childlike goals if you can. So like leverage exactly what it is. Who wants to make more money? Everyone raises their hand. Why? Very few of you know exactly why. Here's some reasons why you might want to consider it. And then you give multiple different childlike goals. You want ultimate time freedom. You want to retire your parents. You want to like these kind of things. Like those are like ones that you want to be considerate of. The more knowledge you have about the market, the better you can, clarify it.
That's wonderful.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When I look back on, I had a previous business. I used to, during COVID, I was showing people how to write their first children's book. And that's, I limited it to writing it, because if I knew the first time I did it, if I'd write it and then I'd show them, I'm going to show you how to write it, publish it, become a bestseller and all these things. Like it was too much. Nobody bought the thing. And then when I just did the writing, everything else followed from there. And then inside, and the reason I'm vocalizing this is because I'm seeing the framework, how it works inside of there. But when it comes to this whole marketing piece, because my brain is stuck on the message that's in the market about make more, and give more. I have to switch back to that mode of really diving deep and understanding the true motivations of people, because it's not always just the money. That's what they say. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. This was very helpful, bro.
Good. I'm really glad. Yeah. Just remember and think about it for yourself. Cause like you probably don't really know right now. Like you have a baseline assumption, like a gut instinct, but it's not real. It's not real. It's not real. You know, it's like,
Of what I
it's
want? Is that what you're saying?
yeah. Like when we say like, why do you want more money? It's like, oh, I want to spend more time with my kids. Right. But it's like, have we elucidated upon that? Is it really clear? Most human beings don't do that. Most people just don't because they let either other people define success for them or they just go with tropes, right? Or they'll even let the word be the success. They'll be like, I want to be successful. And you're like,
So
what does that mean?
what if mine is like super deep? Like, cause I have done that work, and it's like it always comes like I do an exercise with my students at like the seven levels of listening, right? And we just why. I mean that you see it all over the place, and I always
100%.
come with the same answer, right? And it's like there's gonna come a day where I'm gonna meet my maker, right? And I want to be able to answer. I'm gonna meet there's two people I'm gonna meet. There's two people I'm gonna meet. The person that I could have been had I lived my life to my fullest, and my maker. And I got to answer the question: did you do whatever you were sent to do, and do it to the best of your ability? And if I can't answer that, then I'll kind of be in purgatory or like whatever, like not religiously, but like
I
I
know what you're
want to
saying.
I want to be able to answer that question. That like so is that I don't know, is that what I'm trying to get out of my clients or
It's out of your prospects. What are you trying to get out of your
I
prospects
okay.
is for them to give you anything other than the top level answer. I want to be successful. I want to make more money. I want more time. But what does that mean? Like, what is more time? What is tangible? Right. So like
Okay.
when we onboard our clients, we ask them like, what is the success KPI in working with us, right? And then they'll use a term that is not beyond reproach, right? I want something that's tangible. More is not tangible because more is inherently an open loop. Because what does more lead to?
More.
More, exactly. And then it just continues forever. So if I don't have tangible answer, it's pretty much impossible to succeed. And a great example of this is, when I started my agency in 2010, I was really like more full-time by 2015. And one of the clients that I got in 2015 was a local gym. It was a gym that I worked with in Vero Beach, Florida. And I remember I like went in person, and that was like the main method of how I was closing deals back then. I would go in person and just like be incredibly aggressive is the wrong word, but it's what I'm using for now. It's just confident. Like just I call it audacity sales. Just like I'm going to do what it takes to make this happen and prove my worth. And so I remember, I went in there, I got the meeting, and then I went back and I got the business. I don't remember how much it was. It wasn't a lot. I think it was like $1,000, right? It was not a crazy amount of money or anything like that. But I remember leaving after getting paid. I think they gave me a check, which was funny. And I remember leaving and being so empowered, just like super, super proud of myself. But I missed something really important that obviously I had to learn the experience of, which was success KPI. I had assumed that success was just more, right? Because I hadn't learned this lesson yet. So when you fast forward 30 days later, right? We had delivered them, let's say, I don't remember exact numbers, so forgive me, but let's say around 100 leads, right? And I remember thinking, leaving my house, driving to the like reporting call or like, you know what I mean? Like the meeting to like continue. I remember thinking like, oh my God, fucking crushed it for them. They're going to be so excited. I am so thrilled. And I went in and it was the complete opposite. Like they were super pissed. Felt like they were scammed, that none of the leads were good. None of them became clients and no one became a member. And I just left, super defeated. And then, the evaluation of that experience, which it took time, I had to get through the emotions of it first, but after evaluating the experience, there's a pretty evident thing that I had missed, Andrew. The pretty evident thing was, hey, you purchased this thing. What do you want in this purchase? It's like, imagine going to a restaurant and it's a guess. You pay them $25 and they just give you any meal, but they give you something that you're allergic to or that you fucking hate. Well, that's going to be a really bad experience. And that's what I did. I took their money, but not their order. That doesn't make any sense, right? And so I had to learn that, obviously, the extremely hard way. It's very disappointing and very sad. And mean too. Like, they were mean too. You know, when people pay you money and they don't get the result, they're a lot of times really mean, which sucks because I'm a very emotional person and I really care a lot about what I do. So it was shitty, right?
Yeah.
But I had to learn it. And so then I learned the importance of, okay, well, I got to take the order. Because the order concept that I do with the metaphor of restaurants is the same. It's like, if you go to a restaurant and you order a pizza and they give you the best chicken wings you've ever had, probably going to be happy, but you're also going to want the pizza, right? You'd be like, so where's the pizza? Didn't you like the chicken wings? Well, I did, but I ordered the pizza. And that's the thing. That's what we have to get clear on. And that's how all of this leverages. And when it's just more, that's not an order. It's like you go to a restaurant, I just want food. I should make this a video, by the way. It'd be funny. Go to a restaurant and just order food. Yeah, I just like food, please. What? Yeah, just food. Yeah, food. I got $20. Can you just give me food? They bring me out anything, right? Like, no, I didn't want this. I didn't want this. I wanted food. What is that? It's not food. It's not what I wanted. That's the thing, right? Most people don't have tangible understanding of what they really want. They just want more money, more success, more freedom. The best we can do in sales is get anything that's better than just the top level. And you could leverage all these metaphors that we're talking about for transparency in the conversation so that we can be successful. And it works extremely well. It works extremely well. And people, by the way, that push back on you on this very aggressively, which will happen, especially for like doctors or attorneys, they're going to be the worst fucking clients in the world because they're impossible to satisfy because they don't know what satisfaction means because they've never taken 1 second to identify what that is. And I feel bad for those people because whether they had 10, again, I'm using a baseline fake number, whether they had 10, they had 50, they had 100, they had 1,000, it didn't matter because no matter what, it's not good enough. Just chasing the dragon, right? That shit sucks. It's a crappy experience. And the only way to avoid that is either one, learning from someone like myself that's been through that experience, or much worse, going through that experience yourself, which sucks and is really not fun. And I really, really am glad that I don't go through that experience anymore because I had to go through it, not just one time. It's not like I just learned the lesson the first time just from the gym. I definitely fucked it up multiple more times with attorneys, particularly because I felt like they were better than me too. It's like, oh, well, they know more. They're better. So I'm just going to do whatever. It's never good enough. Nothing's good enough. Get 10 cases. Why wasn't it 12? It's like, oh my God, fuck. Killing me over here, dude. You're killing me. I don't want that in my life. So hopefully that gives you guys some clarity on, some of the things you need to be considerate of when you're selling, simplifying, getting clear on what they really want, and showcasing proof with transparency that is cherry picked so that they know that it's not bullshit. Those are probably some of the main takeaways for today.
That's really good. Thank you.
My pleasure.
From a simple question. I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of my thing. You could ask me one little thing and then I'll have like a 2-hour explanation on it. It's kind of my thing. That's what I do. Anything else, guys, that I can support on? Just as a heads up, as we're coming to the hour here, I have a Facebook group as well that you're always welcome to join. I just dropped it here. I do a show every single Thursday at 3:15 p.m. Eastern, right before this call. Free training every week. So if you want to come join us in there, we'd love to have you. And yeah, nothing to buy, nothing to sell. Just come join us and come hang out anytime you want. And obviously we'll be here every Thursday at 4:00 also. So anything else before I run to go pick up my son, which I'm really excited about? Anything else that I can help on? Leo, you got something?
Yeah, I have a very specific niche that I'm working with. I work with fire performers.
Fire performers.
Yeah. Right now,
Cool. Okay.
I came from teaching them how to do fire things. That's my
Super cool.
expertise. And then I started helping with their business, and then I started learning something myself, found about JHL, jumped in. I'm right now in the Bay Area in California. I'm
Cool.
from
originally?
Yeah, I moved here about a year ago.
Very cool.
And I'm on tour. So every weekend I'm at a different place doing a workshop. So tomorrow I'm doing a workshop in the Bay Area. Next week in Southern California. And then I'm done with for the year. But next year I'll have 30 more. So my funnel is basically people take my workshop. They learn how to eat fire, how to breathe fire. And then I'm like, do you want to actually be professional? Here's the system. I'm going to help you build a website. Here's the CRM that's made for fire performers, by fire performers. And that's like my beginning. The problem is people in this niche don't have a lot of money, and my goal is to change that by giving the solution to because they're not very like most of them don't have a lot of professional knowledge of how to close the deal, how to market themselves. So I'm in a spot where people don't have like I'm I'm in the qualifying area, like testing the market, really the phase of checking it out. And right now, my goal is to sell them on the cheapest plan is like the $97 plan a month, because it's not a niche right now that I can sell a lot more than that. But the other things, the other tiers are gonna be with AI, like chatbot and with all kinds of other AI with Hey Levi. Um,
Yeah.
I got that as well, and eventually like all kinds of things like that. So I'm gonna need a lot of volume of people, and it's a very manual process at the point. Um, so I'm trying to maybe turn it into more of a webinar and selling it outside of the workshops. All these type of things. So I just want to hear your opinion on like the idea. Maybe is it better to just? I know that overall I like the idea of high tickets, of having things more like having a setup that is more expensive, but the thing that
Yeah.
this specific
How are
niche.
you going to use GHL for the fire performers?
So
Like to
basically, the
book
CRM,
things?
yeah, booking their shows.
Gotcha.
Some of them are also instructors, so they're good. The calendar is really good, or marketing
Got
their
it.
own thing. All
Got it.
the automation of.
And then you're using that on with your coaching, right? Combined?
So right now I'm doing some business coaching. I have different levels. One is like the physical workshops that I teach, just the skills of fire. That's what I'm known for, and that's why people come to learn from me. And then there's the back end, which is like the coaching, a mastermind group. That's like a weekly Zoom call that I do, and I help them either with the technical things or with business things. And the idea is to automate it by creating. They said instead of just teaching them all the stuff, give them a system that already does a lot of the stuff and explain and teach them how to use it. That is basically the offer. With I also have a WordPress template of a website that I let them design and redesign the whole thing, so they have an easily made website, which is not as good as a customizable one, but that's for cheap. That's what I can do.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in your position, exactly what I would do would be I would have all of the coaching and workshops I do. I would incorporate the technology platform with it, like that you have like Firebrand. Let's say you name it, white label it like Firebrand. And it's like it has automations already for how to like follow up with your leads and set up like workshop automations for when you're doing your
I use it
show.
myself. Like I use the
Yeah.
so that's how I got into GTL. First of all, it was for me, and then I'm like, oh wait, I can use it for my students.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I would incorporate that as well. In terms of them like not having money and all that stuff, like my thought process would be I'd probably try to sell through like a VSL or webinar format instead of one-to-one, because selling one-to-one for like a $200 whatever product is probably not ideal. Yeah. Is there a specific question or a specific?
It's just hearing thoughts, like picking your brain about like it's a very weird niche. The goal is like right now that's where I'm positioned. The goal is to go to a bigger niche, but I can't quit my job until because it's like a day job for me now. I do this because that's what makes me money. I love it, but the goal is to find a better, bigger niche that has money, that is actually a market that I can use. But yeah, the
Yeah, I
idea is
mean, I don't
volume.
know.
I'm gonna need to go for volume here and to get more people fast versus just a few people who pay a lot.
I think my obstacle here is like I literally know nothing about like fire performers other than that, I've seen them at events and such, like, at like luau's or private events, or like definitely a big thing in Miami for sure, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Oh, that's the
Um,
work that sells out the most when I'm in Miami.
yeah. Um, but like I don't even know. I mean, like I could assume that you could run ads. That was like want to learn a brand new like hobby that will impress all of your friends and also create a new stream of income for you. And then that would be like the
Yeah, I'm not trying
front
to
end
sell the
app.
workshops. I'm trying just to it's a different one of the ways for me to sell the CRM is through the workshops.
Of course.
Another way, yeah, it's so that's easier because that's in a workshop I'm selling them on it, and I'm selling it as part of like the highest level. They pay 2.5 grand, they get a year access, and all the extra benefits and things. But it eventually gets to a point where is it selling this for $97 a month?
I would not sell it for, it's too little.
Yeah, like what would you say the minimum would be?
197 minimum.
I see. So I'm probably gonna the beta test is probably gonna be for 97 at some point. I thought it 150, but 197.
Yeah. If I can be blunt in order to really help you best,
100%. Give it to me.
I do not see like a legitimate like business opportunity in the fire breathing space. But I also want to say that I'm very ignorant to it. So I think that's key, but
Yeah,
I think that's my thoughts.
that's fair. Yeah, I know it's a transition phase for me to something bigger. But right now that's my playground. That's where I'm
Yeah, it
going.
makes sense. Hear that. I will get you that right now, Andrew, the replay, so you can have it. It's in the Extendly community, which is right here. This is the replay.
And what would you say should be the price for something that is the AI incorporated, like the second tier?
At least 497.
Okay.
At least. Guys, I'm here every Thursday, 4:00. If you need anything from me, holler at me. If you want to reach out to me faster, you can do so on Facebook. You can also go to my Facebook group, which is 7-Figure Culture, 7-Figure Sales Savages. I just dropped it for you. If you need anything from me, holler at me. If not, have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you soon.
Thanks, Alex. Have a great day, guys.
Do you want a proven way to increase your lead generation on your website and sales funnels, as well as add an additional revenue stream to your agency? Check out www.chatHQ.io today and start your free account.